But our top focus tonight, is it time to scrap the centuries-old colonial sedition law? Those are not my words, but the words of the Supreme Court Chief Justice today. The Supreme Court said the law once used by the British regime to silence and imprison Mahatma Gandhi and Bal Gangadhar Tilak is being misused even now and is often being used to crush political dissent. The court asked the centre why the sedition law is still existent while many other state laws have been dropped. So has the time come to finally consign a colonial law to the dustbin of history? That's going to be our top focus. Nalini Sharma tells us what happened in the Supreme Court today.
Section 124A of the Indian Penal Code. A British-era law that was used to incarcerate India's freedom fighters. The statute still exists, but do we need it? The question is posed by no less than the Supreme Court of India. The sedition law under Section 124A IPC was used to silence Mahatma Gandhi and Bal Gangadhar Tilak. Does the government want to retain it after 75 years of independence? The Chief Justice of India, N.V. Ramanna, has asked the Attorney General. The court was hearing a petition filed by a retired Major General S.G. Vombatkere from the Indian Army challenging the colonial-era law. The CJI remarked that the sedition law is being misused by the police to fix people who speak against the government. The judge observed that there is no accountability for slapping seditious charges. The CJI said, it's like giving a carpenter a saw to cut a piece of wood and he chops down the whole forest. The Supreme Court has issued notice to the centre to respond with their stand on the law. It has tagged together all the other petitions on the same issue pending before the court.
If the law is not capable of good use and is prone to deliberate misuse continually, it may no longer be constitutional. Somehow or the other, given the current circumstances, the government may not abolish it from the statute books, so it will be left to the judiciary to bring it down.
Unjust and oppressive, the discriminatory laws of the colonials are.
The CJI, recently delivering the Justice P.D. Desai Memorial Lecture, explained how at times rule of law gets replaced with the rule by law.
British colonial power enacted various laws to further their economic and political interests. At the cost of the colonized, the British used the law as a tool of a political repression, enforcing it unequivocal on the parties, with a different set of rules for the British and for the Indians. It was an enterprise famous for rule by law rather than rule of law.
According to an NCRB report published in 2019, conviction rate in sedition cases has seen a sharp decline. The report shows 93 sedition cases were filed in 2019, up from 70 in 2018 and 51 in 2017. While the conviction rate stood dropped at a mere 3.3% in 2019, from 15% in 2018 and 17% in 2017. With Nalini Sharma, Bureau Report, India Today.
Is it time then to scrap the sedition law? Why is the misuse of sedition law rampant? Should there be a review today of this British-era law? That's the question on my face-off today. Two senior advocates, both distinguished, Vikas Singh, senior advocate, and Supreme Court's Dushyant Dave. Both of you, appreciate your joining us on the face-off today. First to you, Dushyant Dave, let's be very clear. The sedition law is a colonial law, was used by the British to suppress our freedom, used against Mahatma Gandhi and Bal Gangadhar Tilak. Is this law needed after 75 years from independence, says the Chief Justice. Do you believe this law should be scrapped, particularly in the times in which we live?
You see, Rajdeep, one thing is very interesting, that and this is, although the matter is sub judice before the Supreme Court, as we all know. But the observations by Honorable Chief Justice Ramna are absolutely, a delight to hear. After a long time, we are hearing from the Chief Justice of India, especially after 4 Chief Justices let the country down miserably. Chief Justice Keher, Chief Justice Deepak Mishra, Chief Justice Gogoi, and Chief Justice, last Chief Justice Bobde. We are today hearing something from the Chief Justice of India, which is really music to our ears. And I must say, hats off to the Chief Justice for standing up for the Constitution, for the constitutional morality, and for the citizens and their fundamental rights. What the Chief Justice has said is something which, although these are observations, but these are very profound observations, because the Chief Justice's observations carry a tremendous weight. And what he has said is something very important. Why did he say? Because what he says is, you may perhaps justify the existence of the law. It's the applicability of the law which is causing a serious problem.
No, so what is your... do you believe that the law should be on the statute books? Or do you believe that the applicability of the law in itself is being misused and hence the law itself should not be there? Let's get it clear. Do you believe the law should be scrapped, Mr. Dave?
Look, in today's body politic that we have, the law must be scrapped. We do not have a, public life today, be it political life, be it, administrative life, where we can apply this law judiciously to the just causes as the law requires. And we are bound to apply this law towards innocent people, which we are doing without any accountability whatsoever on the concerned police officers or concerned ministers or even concerned magistrates and judges who justify invocation of this law against innocent citizens.
No, but is that reason enough? Is that reason enough, Mr. Dave, in an age where you have terrorism, that you scrap the law altogether? I want a clear answer, and then I'll go to Mr. Vikas Singh.
Look, we all know that the application of this law has been, and we are seeing it especially in last 7 years, and I have seen it even during the Congress period, is against innocent citizens more than real terrorists. So there are enough other provisions to deal with the terrorists. We don't need sedition law to deal with terrorists.
Okay.
So sedition law must go. There is no doubt in my mind about it.
Section 124 should go, says Dushyant Dave. Vikas Singh, your response. There will be those who will say that's an extreme position to take. We need a middle ground. Do you believe that? Or do you believe that because of the failure to apply the law judiciously, this law must go? Sedition is being used today to crush dissent. Any anti-government voice is called seditious in this country. How do you respond, Mr. Vikas Singh?
Well, Rajiv, there are two actually independent debates on this issue. Now, one debate is whether there should be sedition law or not. Now, that's a larger question that will be decided considering, like, for instance, we have death penalty in India. A large number of countries have done away with the death penalty.
Right.
So whether we should have or not is a very, very different debate. That debate should not be confused with the fact that the law is being misused, because misuse of a law is a separate subject altogether. Today, the Supreme Court has quashed 66A of the IT Act. Still, cases are being registered under the 66A of the IT Act. And Supreme Court is anguished that in spite of our judgment, cases are being registered. So if a section which can be quashed and still cases can be registered, I don't understand that where we are heading to. So
but do you believe the law should be scrapped, Mr. Singh? I want to get clarity. Do you believe that a law, because of the way it's being used or misused, should be scrapped?
According to me, it should not be. The fact that the law has been read down by the Supreme Court as early as in 1962 in Kedarnath Singh,
yes,
that itself is a ground to secure to the citizenry that this law cannot be misused.
But one minute, Mr. Vikas Singh. That landmark judgment, Kedarnath Singh, 1962, which you just quoted, held, a citizen has a right to say or write whatever he likes about the government or its measures by way of criticism or comment, so long as he does not incite people to violence. And yet, look at the kind of people who are being charged with sedition. From a Disha Ravi to tribals in Jharkhand, You've got series of journalists who are being charged when they write anti-government stories, charged under sedition. So the point is, the Kedarnath government is not applied.
No, so that's what I'm saying. So Rajdeep, you missed out what I said earlier.
Yes.
66A has been set aside, quashed. Even now cases are being registered under 66A. So that's not an answer. The fact that the law is being misused is not an answer to say that the law should be set aside, or the law should be taken off the statute book, or the law should be expunged from the statute book.
No, but if it is
fact
not
that
expunged,
being
it will be misused. If it is not expunged, it will be
Rajdeep,
misused.
that's not the answer. Please, Rajdeep, let me complete.
Yes, sir.
If you're
Please go
interviewing
ahead.
like this in between, I will never be able to know what I'm trying to say.
Please go ahead.
The fact that the law is being misused, the Supreme Court, it's high time that the Supreme Court should say in a judgment of probably, they could have said it in Vinod Dua's case, which I argued, where of course set aside they quashed the
That's right.
FIR. In that case, sedition also was quashed. But it's high time that they said that if the ingredients as per Kedarnath Singh is not made out, and a police officer in ignorance or to please his political master is still registering a case contrary to Kedarnath Singh, then he should face departmental action and he should be suspended. The moment you do this, no police officer will want to oblige a political master by registering a false case. So, according to me, the real issue is how to implement the law. Because if you see the sedition law as read down in Kedarnath Singh, it's a good law. It should remain, according to me.
Okay.
Whether it should be struck off the statute book, because a lot of countries, including England, have taken it off from the statute book, is a larger debate.
But,
that has got nothing to do with its misuse.
Okay, no,
The fact that it is being
I
misused
take your point.
is a-
I take your point, Mr. Vikas Singh. But since you were the lawyer for the journalist Vinod Dua, look at it. You are today telling me that if the law is properly interpreted by the Supreme Court in a judgment, the police will hesitate to register a false case against someone. Do you really believe that? Do you really believe that in an environment where people seem to confuse nation and government, if I speak against the government, I am accused today of speaking against the nation? Do you believe a police officer will have the determination to take on the political masters?
If he is aware that this kind of a case and result his job being taken away, it will definitely have that salutary effect. But today, unfortunately, no action is being taken against police officers. We are just quashing the case and leaving it at that.
Right.
We must actually take the step further, that wherever it is found in a court of law that a case has been wrongly registered or registered only to please the political master, then the police officer must face the consequence.
That's
and
an
if
import-
that starts happening,
that-
no police officer will want to do
That's
that.
a very
ever.
important point. Dushyant Dave, do you believe that's an adequate safeguard? That today, if a police officer registers a case wrongly as found by the court subsequently, that is an adequate safeguard? Or do you believe the problem is that by the time that happens, someone may well have spent an extended period in jail at times?
Well, Vikas Singh is the president of the Supreme Court Bar Association and a very dear friend of mine. I have a lot of personal regard for Vikas Singh. But I must say Vikas is contradiction in terms. He himself admitted that despite quashing of Section 66A of the Information Technology Act, even today, large number of police cases are being registered against citizens for violation of Section 66A. So what does that show? That shows that there is anarchy in this country. It is well-nigh impossible to govern any policeman because today the police act at the behest of their political masters. And the political masters want that citizens who speak against them, who express dissent against them, who criticize their policies, they must be treated as seditious acts and they must be tried under this stupid law. So I don't think I can agree with my dear friend with greatest respect.
So, Mr. Dave, is the problem, just a minute, is the problem, sir, with the police officers or the government? Because even before 2014, there were sedition cases. They've increased post 2014 and lower conviction. But go ahead.
No, forget that. Section 124A, capital A, sedition law, expressly uses the word whoever by words or spoken or otherwise brings or attempts to bring hatred or contempt or excites disaffection towards government established by law shall be punished. Now, this is a very innocuous kind of language. It was good enough during the British time. because the British didn't want anybody to say anything against the British government. Today, we have a fundamental right to criticize our government. If we didn't have a fundamental right, democracy will be in peril. So if I were to simply criticize Mr. Modi, saying that you, Mr. Modi, have mishandled COVID crisis, some police officer may think that this is seditious and he might file a case. It is impossible to control them. The provision must go. There is no other way we can secure the lives of the citizens. Remember, every life of a citizen is very precious, and even one day denial of that life or liberty in violation of Article 21 is a negation of constitutional right.
You know, we have got a situation, therefore, you know, you are saying, remember, there was a case of sedition being registered against a journalist who exposed the roti salt midday meal scheme in Uttar Pradesh. You just now, Vikas Singh ji, mentioned about Vinod Dua. And because Vinod Dua was questioning the government in some of his programs, there was a sedition case against him. My point is, look at the practice. When the practice consistently, not just once or twice, we can give a series of cases over the last decade. It's got worse since 2014. Then maybe the time has come to go further and say enough is enough. We don't need a colonial law. This is not, let's not use a law which was used to imprison Mahatma Gandhi, as the Chief Justice said, to imprison journalists for questioning the government.
No, so Rajdeep, we come back to the same point. Let me assume that the Supreme Court were to quash this section. Even then, if cases are registered, what will happen? People will still suffer. Point is not that. The point is that there has to be accountability at the police level.
Right.
And if there is no accountability, you may be, I may be arrested today for something. Dushyant may be arrested for something. So they can, just do, if this is allowed, we are in a police Raj. We are not in a democracy in the true sense.
No, so
Because
are you saying blame the police? Are you saying that
So
the police are responsible for the misuse of the law?
That's right. So accountability has to be fixed.
Okay.
Just by quashing the case is not good enough. There has to be accountability. And the moment you start that accountability process, nobody will risk his job to please the political master. I can tell you this. This is something which is well known in this country.
Dushyant, governments will come and go. There will be Narendra Modi ji one day, there will be someone else the next. The police is going to remain the same. As Vikas Singh is pointing out, the real problem is the way the police particularly use this law in a way, perhaps on the behest of whoever is their political master, to settle scores.
That's true. I agree with Vikas. But that's why if the section is removed, deleted, scrapped, then the police will not be able to use that. Yes, it can be abused by invoking the section even when it is scrapped. But then the judge will tell the policeman next day that, look, this section is scrapped. Why are you invoking against Mr. Dave or Mr. Vikas Singh this section? So I feel that let us begin by advocating or raising this debate, countrywide debate. I think the Chief Justice of India has done a great service to the country by suggesting to the government and to the learned Attorney General, Mr. Venugopal is a very, very respected lawyer. And I hope and pray with folded hands that Mr. Venugopal advises the government rightly. And I am sure the Prime Minister, who otherwise respects judiciary, and he has been saying so again and again, will listen to the inner voice of the judiciary. This voice needs to be heard by the Prime Minister. If he wants to be a popular Prime Minister, he must hear this voice and scrap, because UK have scrapped hundreds of laws. Why not scrap this colonial law and do away with it so that it is not abused by policemen? It is going to be abused so long as it remains on the statute book. We need to remove it to begin with. Then if it is abused, then Mr. Singh is right. We can have accountability. But so long as the statute remains, this section remains on the statute book, it is bound to be misused by police officers at the instance of their political masters.
Do you really believe that this parliament will actually take that step of...
No, of course not. Of course not. The court will have to strike it down. This parliament is a majoritarian parliament. And, it loves people being harassed like this. We are seeing, there is no doubt, Rajdeep, we must fight terrorism. We must fight real terrorism. But in the name of terrorism, to harass citizens who are merely expressing dissent or opposition to the government of the day, that's really uncalled for a real democracy. And I have no doubt that Bharatiya Janata Party and Prime Minister are real democrats and they will not permit this nonsense any longer.
Okay, let's say inshallah, or let's hope for the very best is all one can say. Clearly, I know, because the Journalists and the Editors Guild of India has also now implemented itself in this case. We believe, many journalists believe, that the time has come to scrap this colonial law. Vikas Singh, Dushyant Dave, always good to have two fine lawyers putting their point of view. Thank you both very much for joining me here right at the top of the news today this evening. From sedition laws, let's move to the big political story. Prime Minister Narendra Modi virtually launched the campaign for the BJP in Uttar Pradesh today in a visit to Varanasi. Not only did he announce a series of development projects worth 1,500 crore rupees for the historic temple town, the Prime Minister heaped lavish praise on UP Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath, calling him dynamic, hard-working, and even hailed the Chief Minister for COVID management in India's most populous state. Remember, UP has come under the scanner during the second wave of COVID, particularly after dead bodies were found floating down the river Ganga, and there were reports from several villages of COVID cases going out of control. Listen in to what the Prime Minister had to say.
UP ने पूरे सामर्थ्य के साथ इतने बड़े संकट का मुकाबला किया। देश का सबसे बड़ा प्रदेश, जिसकी आबादी दुनिया के दर्जनों बड़े बड़े देशों से भी ज्यादा हो, वहां कोरोना की दूसरी वेव को जिस तरह यूपी ने संभाला, सेकंड वेव के दौरान यूपी ने जिस तरह कोरोना संक्रमण को फैलने से रोका, वो अभूतपूर्व है। कोरोना से निपटने में उत्तर प्रदेश के प्रयास उल्लेखनीय है।
Unparalleled, says the Prime Minister about UP's handling of Corona. Now, while the Prime Minister was heaping praise on the Yogi Adityanath government, the fact is the UP government finds itself in a controversy. The Kanwar Yatra, a religious pilgrimage, has become another flashpoint in the faith versus COVID debate. The Supreme Court has taken suo motu cognizance and will hear the matter tomorrow after issuing notices to the Yogi government, calling its decision to allow the Yatra disturbing. Not only the Supreme Court, the Indian Medical Association too has made it clear that at no condition should any state allow any mass religious gathering. So is this also unparalleled? Here's more.
Two states, the same ruling party, but two different stands. Uttar Pradesh and Uttarakhand have taken diametrically opposite views on allowing the Kanwar Yatra, a traditional Hindu pilgrimage that sees thousands of devotees trek hundreds of kilometers to Haridwar. If the Uttarakhand government has banned the Yatra, fearing a third COVID wave, the Uttar Pradesh government, which faces election next year, is allowing it.
हमने जो है सभी की जान माल की सुरक्षा को प्राथमिकता पर लेते हुए पहले ही जो है कांवड़ यात्रा को इस बार हमने नहीं किया है, तो हमारे लिए सबसे पहले लोगों की जान माल की रक्षा है।
कांवड़ यात्रा में तो आप जाएंगे, मंदिर में जल चढ़ाएंगे, तुरंत निकल आएंगे। यहाँ किसी को वहाँ रहना नहीं है, न किसी को हम लोग गैदरिंग करने रहेंगे, कोई भीड़ भाड़ के वो नहीं करने देंगे, उनको आएंगे और तुरंत निकल जाएंगे। तो ऐसा नहीं है कि वहाँ दिनों दिन बैठेंगे जिसकी वजह से भीड़ हो जाएगा, ये हम लोग सुनिश्चित करेंगे।
Taking suo motu cognizance, the Supreme Court has termed Uttar Pradesh's decision to allow Kanwar Yatra disturbing. It has ordered the Yogi Adityanath government to give a reply within the next 24 hours. The Adityanath government says it will adhere to the court's decision if there were to be any ruling.
सुप्रीम कोर्ट तो अगर हमसे बोलेगी कि आपको नहीं चलाना, तो उस पर हम लोग विचार करके फिर अपना मुख्यमंत्री के साथ वार्ता करके फिर उसको आदेश करेंगे उसी हिसाब से। सुप्रीम कोर्ट का तो बात मानना ही है।
Medical experts have no two views on the issue. They want the Yatra banned.
It is our duty to caution the government and appeal to the government that at this moment, any mass gathering at any pretext is going to be a disastrous effect for our country.
Two other states, Haryana and Delhi, are yet to decide on Kanwad Yatra and are offering no clear answers.
मुझे लगता है इस वक्त जो भी कोरोना को रोकने के लिए बहुत बड़ी महामारी है, कोरोना को रोकने के लिए जो भी कदम उठाने की ज़रूरत है, सभी सरकारों को और लोगों को मिलकर वो कदम उठाने चाहिए.
The annual Kanwad Yatra involves Shiva devotees called Kanwadiyas travelling by foot to fetch Ganga water from Haridwar or Gangotri in Uttarakhand. They later anoint the water at the local Shiva temples as a gesture of thanksgiving. As per official records, in 2019, the last time the Yatra was organized, nearly 3.5 crore Kanwadiyas had visited Haridwar, while over 2 to 3 crore people had visited pilgrimage spots in western UP. With inputs from Abhishek Mishra in Lucknow, Bureau Report, India Today.
And joining me now is Jai Pratap Singh, UP's Health Minister, joins me on that big issue. Should this yatra go ahead? Appreciate your joining us, sir. The fact is, even the Supreme Court now is questioning your decision, sir, to go ahead with this Kanwad Yatra, the religious pilgrimage. Why is the Uttar Pradesh government adamant to go ahead with the yatra in COVID times, when even the Prime Minister publicly claims that we could be heading to a potential third wave if we don't take adequate precautions? Why this obsession with allowing the yatra to go ahead?
Rajdeep ji, as you said, ki if we don't take adequate precautions, and in this case, allowing the Kanwad Yatra, which is a matter of faith and which is done every year, we are going to allow them with certain conditions, with certain restrictions, and as much as precautions which is possible. Number one. Number two, over the period of last 1.5 years, the UP government has managed to have a system of management in which we've successfully controlled the 2020 COVID virus, and again the new variant which came in 2021, we were able to control that too, along with our regular testing, regular vaccination, contact tracing. And even today, we are doing nothing less than 250,000 testing and about 8 to 9 lakhs vaccination every day. And we ensure in every nook and corner of Uttar Pradesh, wherever it is possible, wherever we find a suspected person, we have him tested immediately and ensure that there is minimum amount of cases which are coming up, as we are seeing in the last 15 days. So I think we are quite...
Mr. Minister, my point to you, Mr. Minister, is why take the risk in the first place? You're saying that this is a matter of faith. This is a time when you need to put public health above faith. Your own BJP government in Uttarakhand has cancelled this yatra. Why is it that Uttar Pradesh needs to do it? The suspicion, dare I say it, is because elections are 6-7 months away. You do not want to stop a Hindu religious festival because at the end of the day, that is your core vote bank. This is not about public health or anything. This is about politics. Your response to that? The UP government is playing politics.
No, I wish Rajdeep, as you had said, that this was a vote bank issue. Unfortunately, religious gatherings, in whichever time they come, whether it is the Kumbh Mela, whether it is the Kanwad, whether it is Dussehra, Diwali, it has nothing to do with vote bank. These gatherings are there because of religious dates, religious sermons, and so it happens every year. It happens to all of us. But to ensure that people are free to go to the religious services wherever they want to go, we try, and even in conditions like COVID conditions, which are very well controlled today in UP, even then we will have proper restrictions done. The chief, we have given certain guidelines and certain advisories to the Home Department in the in UP, and today the Chief Minister is in Varanasi with the Prime Minister, and the Supreme Court has taken a note of this and given us a notice in which we are putting up a guideline and putting up whatever we have to do in the Supreme Court today. Tomorrow they will give us a decision. If the Supreme Court says that it is not necessary and it is not advisable to go in for a Kanwad Yatra, then we will stop the Yatra. We will follow the guidelines of the Supreme Court. But as of now, along with restrictions what we are trying to formulate, we are quite sure we should be able to do it, because it's these.
No, Mr. Minister, now you seem to be putting the ball in the Supreme Court. But why does it require a Supreme Court intervention? My point is that why take the risk in the first place of a potential super spreader event? We saw what happened in March, April with elections taking place. There was also the Kumbh Mela. My limited point is the Prime Minister is making it clear to the average citizen, please avoid large gatherings, and yet the government of the day is encouraging what could be a large gathering. Who will control these kawariyas, sir, as they go on this yatra?
No, we will control them. We have a system in place where we control them. But what I wanted to say was, we are not waiting for the Supreme Court to tell us not to go. We had already decided on going ahead with the Kawad Yatra. There are different types of Kawad Sangathan in every district. Our authorities are already speaking to them. Anybody under 18 and over 50 will not go. Anybody who has done his vaccination, then only we'll allow them to go. Anybody जिसने अपना संकल्प लिया है, किसी धार्मिक संकल्प लिया कि हमको जाना ही है क्योंकि हमने ये काम किया तो हम जल चढ़ा के भगवान से आशीर्वाद मांगेंगे, इस तरह के लोग को, लिमिटेड अमाउंट को लोग को हम लोग एवरी डिस्ट्रिक्ट से स्क्रीनिंग करने के बाद तब हम उनको जाने देंगे. ऐसा नहीं है कि पूरा द एंटायर भीड़ विल गो इन वन गो लाइक पहले जाते थे. एवरीथिंग हैज टू बी कंट्रोल, कीपिंग इन माइंड द कोविड प्रोटोकॉल एंड द कोविड इन्फेक्शन. हम उसी हिसाब से करेंगे. एंड सुप्रीम कोर्ट इज नेक्स्ट स्टेज. सुप्रीम कोर्ट तो अगला स्टेज है कि आज सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने इस पूरी बात का संज्ञान लिया. So tomorrow the Supreme Court will probably tell us कि no, you can't do it, then we'll see.
You know, the impression one gets, and this is why I'm asking you these questions, is that you are giving a special privilege for this Kawarya Yatra. A few years ago in 2019, you might recall, sir, Uttar Pradesh officials actually went on a chopper ride and showered petals on the Kawaryas. Is there a special treatment that you are giving to them because you see them as part of a religious grouping which you do not want to antagonize, especially in an election year? I come back to it, that somewhere the sense is public health will have to take secondary place to politics. Is that really the case under the Yogi Adityanath government?
No, there won't be any shower petals, petal shower and things like that. This is state because there is going to be a lot of restriction on this. Minimum amount of people are going to go, and again I am requesting you to understand the religions of this country. It does not contribute to a vote bank at all. I have been an MLA for so long. If you have a dharmic, some sort of a congregation anyway, whether it is a Kumbh, whether it's Diwali, Dashera, Holi, Kawad Yatra, nowhere does it relate, because I've got that experience, so I know it does not relate to any vote bank. Those people will vote for anybody. Their religious adherence to a particular god is different, and their voting rights or voting whatever they feel like, the feelings to a particular party, totally different. And we are not so, I would say that Hindus are not so completely in favor of BJP. Everybody is not interested.
Now, let me ask you, therefore, the final question. Mr. Minister, can you give me an assurance, therefore, that these rules that allow religious gatherings to take place will apply for all religions? Therefore, when tomorrow a Muslim community comes and says we want to celebrate Eid, or we are going to go on a Muharram procession, they will be allowed? Or you will insist that from now on, everyone first follows COVID protocols, and those who don't, action will be taken? Am I clear? Is that right?
Yes, we'll follow the same COVID protocols, and we are doing our regular testing, and we are ensuring. I can give you an example that in one district a few days back, we suddenly got a group of 9 people of a family who come from Bombay with a variant which we found little different, and we've given it for genome sequencing. But then once we got the report, we found it was a normal Delta, the normal virus which was there earlier, and everything was contained. So every village is being washed properly with the help of the pradhans, with the help of the block development officers, and we are very tightly managing to see that even one case comes up, we are going to go in for 30 cases of contact tracing, and to ensure that nothing spreads at all. We are trying our best.
Let me leave it there. We leave it to the Supreme Court to decide. Do they want to put faith and what you claim are your protocols in place over the fears and the risks that are associated with public health? Thank you very much, Mr. Minister, for joining us and giving us your perspective. Appreciate that. Let's turn to the story that's breaking at the moment, because the Sidhu versus Amrinder Singh war in Punjab has escalated. The captain has now gone into a huddle with his loyalists at his Mohali farmhouse. This after Sidhu earlier today met his supporters in Chandigarh. Earlier today, Congress's crisis manager Harish Rawat, in an exclusive interview to me, hinted that Sidhu could get a key post in the Punjab Congress, while the Chief Minister would be Amrinder Singh. We are told that Punjab Chief Minister is unwilling to accept Sidhu being the president of the Punjab Congress. What did Harish Rawat say? The interview that has created a storm. Listen in. For weeks now, the division between Captain Amrinder Singh and Navjot Singh Sidhu in the Congress in Punjab is being looked at closely. Elections are just a few months away, and the question is, will the Congress be able to resolve this fight at the very top of its Punjab Congress unit? Joining us now is the man who's been put in charge of managing this crisis, the General Secretary of the Congress for Punjab and former Uttarakhand Chief Minister, Harish Rawat. Appreciate your joining us, Harish ji, here on India Today. Will this be resolved? For weeks now, it seems that the Congress is unable to resolve the clash between Captain Amrinder Singh and Navjot Singh Sidhu, and elections are only months away.
I think in another 2-3 days, the solution will be rolled out.
You've been saying 2-3 days for the last several weeks.
In politics, 2-3 days means some time, week or so. But this time, I don't think it will take more than 2-3 days.
A few days ago, Captain Amrinder Singh came to Delhi, met Sonia Gandhi, Congress President, and then said that he will abide by any decision that the party leadership takes. Does that mean that some formula is being worked out?
This is a great statement of Captain Amrinder Singh. Everybody has appreciated that. He says that whatever CP will decide, I will abide by that. I will abide by that. He has shown a big gesture.
Because I am told that one possible formula is because Captain is the Chief Minister, he stays on as Chief Minister and the election is fought under his leadership, and Mr. Sidhu is accommodated in the PCC, possibly as a PCC President?
Amrinder Singh ji is Chief Minister. Yes. He is Chief Minister for last 4.5 years. Naturally, we are going to the election, him as a Chief Minister.
Under his leadership.
Him as a Chief Minister. But one thing is very clear, both has to work together. And
so Sidhu as a PCC chief and Amrinder as Chief Minister is a workable formula?
I cannot, because I have still the clearance from the CP is not with me.
But so something on this line. Something on these lines.
But it will be something on this line, nearer to this.
That one is on with the PCC and one is with as the Chief Minister.
And both should work together, because Punjab is a very sensitive state. History owes something from both of them. Captain Amrinder Singh, being a senior, a very seasoned political leader, he knows this issue better than anyone else in the country, and he valued how valuable is peace in Punjab. That's why, and I hope Sidhu, being a future leader, he should also keep this fact in mind while taking any decision or while saying anything.
You know, because you have said, because there's a belief that Mr. Sidhu is also looking at the Aam Aadmi Party as an option in case you do not make him PCC President of the Congress. That he's coming close to the Aam Aadmi Party again. Do you see that or not?
Congress is a big platform. Sidhu, being to a certain extent a media personality, he knows what is the value of a big platform. There are only two big political platforms. One is BJP and other is Congress. जो smaller platform है, वो जानता है कि इसमें वो यदि कुछ दिखाना भी चाहे, तो he will become a misfit within very short time. So that's why I don't think I have detailed discussion with Sidhuji, and he has shows commitment. He says whether I am getting anything or not, but I will stand.
No question of him joining the Aam Aadmi Party.
I'm quite confident he's not joining anyone, and because he has assured me more than once that whatever Rahulji and Priyankaji will ask me, I will follow them.
So you are confident that you will fight the election in Punjab with both Captain Amrinder Singh and Navjot Singh Sidhu as part of your party, because Sidhu has attacked the captain in personal terms, attacked your party's functioning, the chief minister's functioning, and that has given an opening to the Akalis and the Aam Aadmi Party to say, look, the Congress is fighting amongst itself.
In politics, you know that you have to swallow the bitter pills more than once. So whatever, and captain has a long inning in politics, and if some statement has hurt him, so I think he will not look behind that. He will look forward to what is in the interest of the Punjab.
But after the election, will Sidhu become the chief minister or will captain stay on?
This is not my prerogative. This is Congress President prerogative. Whatever he decides, I think both will abide by it.
There is a belief that Harish Rawat could become the face of the Congress in Uttarakhand. Is that where you would like to go after you've resolved the Punjab issue?
I am a Balika Vadhu of Congress. When I was only 19 years old, then I joined Congress. Since then, I have not seen any other house, any other party. लीडरशिप जो काम बता देगी वो काम करेंगे. उत्तराखंड जाओ कहेंगे तो मेरा घर है, तो घर अपना जाना किसको अच्छा नहीं लगेगा, बल्कि मैं 4-5 साल और अपने को जवान महसूस करूंगा यदि मुझे घर भेजते हैं. और नहीं भेजते हैं तो पार्टी ने हम पे इतना इन्वेस्ट किया है, तो मेरी ड्यूटी है कि यदि मेरी मन की ऐसी बात नहीं भी हो रही है तो सिंस आई शुड गो विद द पार्टी.
The Balika Badhu of the Congress. Following that interview, as I said, Amrinder Singh seems to have made it very clear he's not going to accept Sidhu as Punjab Congress president. We'll see how that story moves on. We just go on with the news. Time for a break. On the other side, our good news ground report today.